Welcome, Denise. Hello,
Hello.
Gene Hudson. Tess. Hello there, Christopher. How you doing?
Good. How about you, Chris?
Doing good. Welcome, Dilda. Nice to see everybody. And
Welcome,
don't forget,
everyone. Hello,
Crystal
Rebecca. Crystal.
and Rebecca. Yeah, welcome. And Penny Van. So nice to see everybody. Round of applause. So, Christopher, what are we going to do tonight?
Now, tonight we're going to be talking about how to conduct a great paranormal investigation.
Oh, it's always a great topic to talk about.
Oh, it sure is. One of my favorite topics, to be exact.
Yes. A lot of people always ask about stuff like that. It's always a good question. So, what do you recommend?
Well, I recommend for a good investigation is, of course, pick a good location, one that's known to have some good activity going on in it. Of course, you don't want to go into a place that maybe is really haunted and possibly, take in some harm or cause any more harm than what's already there. But pick a place that has good activity going on, good story to it, and then I simply go in and set your equipment up. And we always go in and do things in sort of a certain order. Like we'll have cameras set out throughout the house. Make sure you put the cameras in a place where you know the activity is going to be captured good. And then if you have any cameras left over, we can always put them in a place that is not supposed to have activity necessarily, because sometimes spirits will tend to move around to locations that you're not involved in, because they're going to kind of hide from you unless they want to interact. But get your camera set up and always double check, make sure you got everything situated where you want it. And then, of course, depending on the size of the location, do you want a lot of people in the house at one time? Because you don't want to scare off the spirits or the ghosts that are there, if you want to call them ghosts. You don't want to scare them off, but too many people, they might back off. Especially children. There's been so many times we've done investigations involving children, and of course, you go into those locations, and of course, a couple of guys walking in with equipment and flashlights and making noises. Little kids are going to be scared. So you may want to send a female in to talk to the little kids first, let them know what's going on. And that's important when you walk into a location. Introduce yourself to the spirits that are there. Let them know what you're there for, why you're there, and who you are. Don't just go in and start, barking orders like, "Hey, you there? Give us a sign, make a noise." Go in and introduce yourself.
Right. So if males don't work, try the opposite sex, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, mix it up a little bit.
There you go. In fact, we went into an investigation once, and we got a very good EVP because we went in there and were setting up the equipment, and we did an EVP session just real quick while we were setting up the equipment. When you played the EVP back, you clearly heard a male voice, saying, "What are you doing here?" And because it was the late husband that was still in the house, and he was like, "What are we doing here?" Because as far as he was concerned, life is still going on as normal. So we went in there with our equipment, all of our stuff. Hi, Linda. Went in with all of our stuff, and we were like intruders to him. And that's why he said, "What are you doing here?" And he plain as day. I mean, one of the best EVPs we'd ever captured. Please pray for Gary. Yes, I'll pray for Gary. No problem.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just saying, thanks, Gene, for the information. And also, I always recommend doing spurt EVPs to test. What do you think?
Oh, definitely. You can do spurt EVPs. Just test things out. Go from room to room and just do a quick little. See what room is the most active. See where you pick up the most activity. And of course, one of the best tools you have, I will say this right off bat, the best tool you have for investigating is your eyes, ears, and just your overall sense of awareness.
That is correct. What kind of equipment do you usually use when you are out there investigating? What kind of tools and equipment?
Well, we use a lot of course, we use the REM pods, and of course, do an EVP session or EVP recorder and EMF detector. Figure out where the hot spots are, because sometimes people who have high EMF fields in their house, it could be a bedroom, poor electrical wiring, or just various things that can give off high EMFs and make a person feel like they're being watched or feel like they're being invaded by spirits. When in all actuality, it could just be the electricity in the room or the area that's not proper. we've been in investigations where the electrical boxes were wide open or the circuits were not proper, and even simple things like paint cans and different toxic fumes that they may not have properly covered can give a weird sense of what's going on.
Right. Crystal, if you could message me on Facebook at Grizzly Chris. And after the show, I'll get with you and I'll see if I can help you out, Crystal. And we'll get you taken care of, okay? Welcome, Denise. Nice to see you.
Hello, Denise.
Hey, Rachel. Nice to see you, Rachel. Round of applause to you, Rachel, and Crystal, and Linda.
Hello, Rachel.
So,
Hi,
but
Linda.
yeah. So I use REM pods from Eric, and he has a paranormal company that he started up, and I'll throw up his banner here. And I love his REM balls that he makes. And I use digital thermometers, the ones that people use in the doctor's office. I don't know if you remember those where they do the forehead.
Oh, yes.
Because I like to get the temperature differences. Do you use those at all?
No use those, but I have heard of them. In fact, going to school growing up, we used to use those quite a bit for checking temperatures and stuff. But one thing we do very well is, of course, me being a little bit of a psychicness. You can walk around and just kind of get a feeling of where the activity is, but you don't necessarily have to be a psychic to get a good feeling. If you just walk in to a haunted location, just take your hands, put them out, and just kind of walk around and feel where the hot spots are, feel where you get the most emotions from, and you know kind of where to set up some of your equipment or even where to check first.
Right. No, absolutely. I use cat balls. I love those.
Oh, yes.
I need to start using them in the studio. I usually tape them to my boom mic. Welcome, D. Crosley, and the show activity, because I do have activity in the studio. I need to get my REM balls and pods back out. They are fascinating. They don't go off all the time, but when they do, it's interesting, right?
Oh, yes. In fact, we did a location been a while back, but we use what we call a boo bear. It's a little bear that if you touch it, it'll talk to you and light up and stuff. And they lay on we had that laying on a bed, and of course we were down in another room, and you could hear the bear talking, so you knew something was interacting with it. And it's great for children because little children can play with that and just get a kick out of it, and gives you an idea what's going on.
Another thing I always recommend is, like you said, trigger objects. Things maybe from that period of time, whether it can be coins, toys, tools, nails, clothing, shot glasses, tobacco. I mean, just a variety of things that you may want to try to interact with the afterlife.
In fact, a couple years ago, I came close to doing a show called Ghost Loop with the Travel Channel, and they were going to come and set up old war era type memorabilia and set it up to be like kind of like the old days and see if they could capture activity on our property. And you can do that too if you have old like objects that belong to the deceased, like maybe a wedding band or even a ring, or even just maybe a favorite pack of cigars or even a favorite alcoholic beverage that maybe the husband used to drink, and lay it down, and they probably will interact with it because that was their favorite stuff.
Poker chips, cards, playing cards. So yeah, and try a variety of objects. You never know, because some things may work in some areas and some may not. You just don't know.
We did an investigation. It's been a couple years ago, but we had a doll that we lay on the steps and see if the kids would interact with the doll, and the kids would push the doll down the steps, and we actually capture on camera with the doll with going down the steps. So if you have objects that maybe kids like to play with, toys, balls, whatever, you can use those as well. I use a lot of it's a piece of equipment called the paranormal puck, and what this puck does is it's a looks like a little hockey puck, but you lay it in an area where there's supposedly activity, and then use your cell phone, the application for it. You type up words, and the words will come to the application. Like you type in a question, and then the spirits will interact with the puck, speaking to it, and then the puck will give you those words that they're saying. And we were at a location. It was an old abandoned theater, an old theater that later became, I think, a hotel. And still had some of the theater equipment in it. And we were walking around with the puck. I was, and I laid the puck down. I was asking questions on the application, and of course, only a few people that's in this world know my nickname. And the puck, I was asking questions, and the puck said, and I quote, and I got this. I still got the picture of it. It said, I was asking, could you please show yourself? Come out and show yourself, interact. And the words were, make me fey. Like, it was telling me that if I wanted it to interact, I'd have to make it interact. And then later on during that same night, I was using the puck, and I said, "Where are you at? Give me a sign." He says, and the puck said the words that came to the screen was tub. Now the tub, that's kind of weird. And then one of the investigators who was holding the camera equipment said, "Hey, Chris, look behind you." Right behind me was an old bathtub.
Oh, wow. See, that's a validation, I think.
And kind of a shock too when you turn your flashlight and look back. Oh boy, yeah. So if you ever anybody's watching ever gets a chance to have a paranormal puck, they do work. I'm not going to say they work every time you ask a question, but I have gotten some very strong results. We did one case where the puck read to us. It said homicide, murder in the room. Like, okay. Do you have any questions up to this point?
I know that the puck works. Hey, Chris, are you talking about a puck? Yes, Linda, that's what he's talking about. Another thing that's pretty famous, a lot of people using around the world, is called the Spirit Talker. It's an app on the phone. FDL Paranormal UK knows the engineer that created the app, but for the app to actually work properly, you have to use an airplane mode. And a lot of great success. It's not like the other free apps. I think it's like $2 or $3.99. It's not a yearly fee. It's a one-time fee, but it's very well respected app. It's getting a lot of notoriety through a lot of the famous shows on TV. So it does have some credibility on that.
Right. Yeah, that's a very good app to use. I've used a few apps myself. One of the apps I've used was called Ghost Radar. That's one of the first apps I ever downloaded. This has been ages ago.
Right.
I was using the app one night, and a lot of times I would turn it on to see if anything would speak, and I never got anything, hardly ever on it, just a few times. But one particular night, I'll never forget. I fell. I had the app running in one room, and I was in another room, and I inadvertently fell, and kind of hurt myself pretty bad. And when I walked over to grab my phone, which had the app on it, there was a message on the app that said fallen, either fell or fallen. Like, whoa, how did it know?
Right.
But another device that's really great to use when you're investigating is we do what is called the blind spirit box session. And that's where you will take a spirit box and turn it to a certain frequency, and then you'll put headphones on, not headphones, but yeah, just cover your ears up with the headphones. And what you will do is they'll ask questions. Somebody in another room will ask a question, and you got the headphones on. So in headphones, you're going to hear what the spirit box is saying back to you, and then you repeat those words out loud, and they'll write them down that go along with the questions. And we've had tremendous success with that numerous times.
So you're saying somebody in another room will ask questions, and then you will hear the answers, and you will repeat them out loud.
Out loud, yes, and somebody will write it down.
I gotcha.
Right. In fact, there was one investigation. We were at a location in northern, lower part of Illinois, southern Illinois, at a bed and breakfast we stayed at, and we did a spirit box upstairs. And at one point, we had two investigators under the spirit box session. We had one here and one here, and both of them at one point started speaking to each other through the spirit box. They were arguing with each other, and that was quite quite a memorable moment. And you can watch that on our YouTube channel if you want to watch the episodes and see that. I've done it many times. In fact, there was one incident where I had a haunted doll in my arm. And I was doing the spirit boxes, and I had the haunted doll in my arm to see if the spirits would interact with this doll, or if anything would happen. And at one point, I it was caught on camera. I kind of went down. don't know if I blacked out or if I just kind of went down, but I went down, and they had to come turn the lights on and see what was going on because they heard the thud. So
Rebecca
said,
asks, Christopher, do you ever remote view a place before going there to investigate? If so, does it help you?
Now there's a good story for you right there. Last year, I guess it was. I had to work a day shift. At that time, it was 8 to 4. I did an investigation. Maybe it was 9 to 5. I did a remote viewing session before going to the location. While I was remote viewing my session, I drew this picture of a doll in a box or something in a box. I thought that's all, can't be right. There again, I didn't go with my first thought. Right, that can't be right. But I went ahead and finished the session, and that night went to the investigation, and we're setting up the equipment. A couple of investigators go into the house to let the homeowners know, hey, we're here. They came back out and they said, you guys ain't going to believe this. Like, what? I said, what? Well, she's got her husband's remains on the living room floor in a box, the urn. Holy cow. There's the box with the doll in it, or the person. I mean, my mouth dropped. I thought, holy crap.
Wow.
Pardon language.
That's pretty wild. So it does help then.
It does help. In fact, most of the investigations that we go to, usually at some point during the night, what I will do is I'll go into the house alone, and I'll go in the house alone, and I will sit down at a table or a couch, and I will do a remote viewing just to see if I can interact with what's going on there. And I've had tremendous success. We had a lady that we went to a house and investigated, and lady was having she saw like an Indian standing at the foot of her bed every night doing this, just staring. And during remote viewing session, I picked up on it. It was probably what we refer to as like this energy or the spirit of that Indian from that time that was still embedded in that spot. And perhaps that's what she was seeing.
Interesting. Really is. So what's been some of your most memorable investigations?
Some of the most memorable ones. Well, we so many of them. There was one particular incident where they thought perhaps a young boy had been hung, and we found out that yeah, he was hung, but it wasn't he didn't accidentally hang himself. What we found out during our investigation, that perhaps the father figure, the male figure, that was a very, very mean person, that he may have set it up to look like an accidental hanging, and I can't go into a whole lot of details, but that was one of the most memorable investigations, because that was during that same night we thought was, when we knew it was a Bible that was sitting on a television stand that flew. We didn't capture this on camera, but you could hear it. It flew and hit the wall and landed on the floor, and it was a Holy Bible hit the floor, and that really shook us up. That was the highlight of the whole night, because whoa, they know we're there for sure.
Oh, that's a sign, wasn't it?
A definite sign. And of course, we all looked at each other like, who did what? And no, none of us did it.
Right.
Another great investigation that we did, I'll never forget this either, was just recently we did a case for a woman whose husband had passed away, and she was grieving the loss of her husband, and he was still there, and we captured him on some of our equipment. But what happened was he didn't realize he was gone, and of course here he was trying to interact with the family, trying to interact with them, let them know he's still there, and he couldn't. They wouldn't answer him back, and he was getting upset. So I went in later on that night. It was around 11 or 12. They had a remote viewing session, and I was able to communicate with him through my work. He was saying that why can't they see me? I'm still here. I said, well, they don't know you passed away yet. And he insisted that, well, no, I'm here. I can see you. I can talk with you. He was telling me different things I was trying to interpret. But bottom line is that he didn't know he passed away. And and he was upset because the family was not speaking to him anymore. He was walking around doing his routines, trying to interact with his wife, his mother, different people that were there. And they wouldn't answer him. He didn't realize, okay, I passed away. It's time to move on. And that's one thing we do in a lot of investigations is we'll help spirits move on. That's one of my favorite parts is being able to take people who are not living anymore and help them understand that it's time to go to the light. In fact, we even have some of our investigators that are very, very good at helping people move on to the light. I mean, I'm okay with it, but we have some specific investigators, females, on our case that they're very good at getting spirits to move on, kind of their specialty.
Do they ever refuse sometimes?
We've had some incidences that, not that I'm aware of, but we've had a few, I'm sure, that where they probably didn't want to go. Right? Yeah, that's one of the cases I did that I was just mentioning. He didn't want to believe that he had passed away, that he was trying to move on. He refused to believe it. He was not, no, it's okay, go on to the light. You got family over there. And we always tell them that because most people, when if they don't know they have passed away, sometimes you can envision a bright light. Just close your eyes and envision a bright light and tell them, do you see the bright light? And cross over that light because you got family over there. Go into the light. You got mom, dad, grandmother over there. They're waiting for you. You got to go see them. And sometimes that will help if you can get them to understand that, hey, your time is up here. You passed away. It's time to cross over. You got a great life waiting for you on the other side.
That's interesting. So, what do you use? Your abilities to help with that, or?
Well, what I'll do is that a lot of times I just, if I want to cross somebody over, what I try to do is just relax and see like a big, like fluorescent bright light. And then I'll tell the spirits, there's a light, move into it. I'll try to get them to go towards the light. If I don't have any luck doing that, one of our other investigators can come in and she's very good at it. She can cross them over and use some of her abilities. Sometimes we work with other teams besides just the four of us. We have another team called Thinning Veil Paranormal. And one of those is a really good psychic, and she can get people to cross over and actually communicate, really well. Linda says, I can see why astral projection is not ideal for cold cases, etc. I was not observant of critical details, and I could not write them down. The paper notes he attached to do are important.
Just talking about your classes, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, remote viewing classes. Okay, I thought you said glasses. My fault. Yeah, the remote
your
viewing
classes. Yeah.
Yeah, if anybody who's listening wants to take my remote viewing classes, just send me an email at moveon.chris@yahoo.com. We'll get you signed up. Another thing you can do that's really great for investigations that we use tool-wise is, like I stated earlier, it's just simply your eyes, ears, and just your overall feelings. Because there's so many times we've done investigations where we just sit back and not really use any equipment, just sit back and just get a feel for the room, and you'll see like maybe a shadow walk across. I've seen shadows numerous times, but one of the very first investigations I ever did, the very first one I ever attended, I had not been there in maybe not even a half hour, and a voice right behind me said, "Chris," and whoa, okay. They knew I was there, and they knew who I was, and I'd never been to that location before either. Never been to that location. Hi, Sean.
Interesting. Welcome, Sean. Nice to have you.
Welcome to the show. Hello, Denise. So some of the other cases we've done, we did recently, just last 2 years ago, we did a bed and breakfast, and I stayed alone in the haunted bed and breakfast, and I stayed there, and you could hear the sounds of a little girl playing around upstairs, playing with the toys, her balls, her games, and she was just a small infant little girl. We stayed at that location, and I was able to, during one of our investigations that at the location, I was able to capture the picture of this little girl on camera. I captured 2 photos of the girl. One of them, you could see the shorts she was wearing. You could see her head, arms, and feet. And if she was wearing the old style, what they call knicker shorts that she had on, and very clear picture. In fact, I captured her once going up the steps with her clothes on, her outfit, and the other photo I captured her. I was sitting on the steps, like looking down at us, so she knew we were there. And I did a remote viewing session with to see if I could pick up on her during that night before I went to bed, and I was able to pick up that it is a little girl. She does live up there. She plays with her toys, and so pretty much validation right there.
Very interesting. What other tidbits that you have for people to help them out in investigations?
Oh, definitely. You can, besides using the spirit boxes and the EMF detectors and all that, you can also use REM pods. We use those quite a bit. In fact, we've had a lot of success with REM pods. I just set them up in a corner or somewhere where you're not going to be walking because you're going to set it off. Just kind of set it up in a corner somewhere or where there's activity. Leave the room, and then what I would do is set it up. Let's say set it on in a bedroom where there's activity, and I would go maybe in the living room and talk to the spirits and tell them to come walk by the device, and if they walk by, it's going to set it off. And you can also use another piece of equipment that's good for this. I actually have this. And it's called a vibration detector. It'll pick up vibrations on the floor or just in general. Take the vibration detector, set it on a corner somewhere, maybe by the steps, or even maybe in the kitchen, wherever the spirits are known to walk around at, and then just ask them to come walk by the detector. It will set the detector off. And we've actually got a lot of video footage of both the REM pods and the vibration detector going off. There was a great tool. And the thing is, when you know that you didn't set those equipment off, when you got validation that that was not you or anybody else in the house other than the spirits, then you know you captured a good piece of evidence.
That is correct. I agree with you on that. Absolutely.
And then, of course, another thing, and you don't have to spend a lot of money to go investigating. If you have just get an old tape recorder. I've done this numerous times. Take an old tape recorder, get a cassette tape, and just record the sounds in the room. And in fact, some of the older equipment, like old video cameras, Polaroid cameras, tape recorders, you can get so much photos and evidence just with that alone, without having to spend the $400 to $500 for a piece of equipment from a paranormal shop. If you have an old recorder or something, use it. I use been known to use old cameras, and I used to use a tape recorder quite a bit. And even just a cheap from like Walgreens or just a store, a little cheap voice recorder, you can use that and capture a lot of sounds. One of the cases we did last year or a couple years ago, or was it last year? I can't remember now, but we captured over an hour or two of an old blacksmith down in his basement, or his garage, I should say, working. You could hear him beating on the
Anvil.
All that.
Yeah, the anvil. That's pretty interesting.
Oh, it was, and it was so unique to play that back, put the headphones on, and I was able to hear it. I'm like, hey, everybody, listen to this. And when I played that, wow, I mean, it was boom, boom. It was great, and it's a good feeling when you get good evidence out of the clear blue.
Yeah, did he have history of being a blacksmith or something?
Yeah, there was a blacksmith place where he lived and did his work. We even walked around his old like a barn area where he did a lot of his horseshoes and work.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So that is great validation. Really is.
Hello, Tammy. Hello, everybody. Thanks for watching. In fact, some of we got so much evidence during the we were at this location for 3 or 4 nights, and we captured so much evidence, photos. I captured the photo of the little girl in the bed and breakfast where everybody else was staying at. They stayed in the blacksmith area. We captured so much there. In fact, we even got an EVP of a blacksmith calling us a ASS. Like, okay, we're sorry, we didn't mean to bother you, but
yes, they do interact with you, don't they?
Oh, they'll interact. They'll talk to you. In fact, you can just take a tape recorder or EMF recorder, whatever you have, voice recorder. Just sit back on the couch, go into a location that is haunted, or even just your own home, and just talk with the spirits that are there. Just talk, and you don't have to be like loud or holler. Just talk plain as day. They'll hear you, and then just let it run for a while. Ask questions, play it back. If you sit down, just have a casual conversation for maybe a half hour or so, there's a good 80% chance you'll get something captured on that EVP recorder. Even if you don't think your house is haunted, you'll probably capture something. In fact, just a few years ago, I captured my image of my grandfather sitting in his chair at my home, in his chair having coffee and cigarettes in the same spot he was always in.
Wow. So let's switch gears. And let's talk about what people watch on TV and think to recreate that when they go out and investigate. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah. Hi, Linda. When you watch stuff on television, of course, one thing to remember is you're only seeing a 1 hour version of that 8 to 9 hours or 10 hours that they're there. It's all trimmed down, but they go to some excellent locations. There are a lot of locations they've been to. I would love to go investigate and check out. A lot of the old war places, battlegrounds, some of the like the old breweries, the old even some of the old like bars that they would go to, like the old saloons as they call them. Some of that stuff would be fantastic if I could go there and investigate.
Now, do you like to provoke and scream and holler and cuss at them?
No, I never go in and provoke or holler or scream. When I go in any location, I don't care if the location is supposed to be negative or positive. Either way, I go in and treat everybody the same way. Just a man-to-man conversation. Sometimes a person can misinterpret the anger that they're feeling from a house because maybe the spirit seems angry to that person, but it's not that he's angry at the person. Maybe he's hollering or touching that the person just misinterprets it because when you cross over, you can't walk up to somebody and go, "Hi, honey, just to let you know I made it," or "Just to let you know I'm still here." You can't do that. It's hard. So you might have to poke and holler and try to get their attention. And the person who's receiving that attention could misinterpret it as being something bad when overall it's not that bad. It's just they're trying so hard to get your attention that you feel like it's negative, or you feel like you're being punished or hurt.
What do you think about smells and objects
Oh,
being misplaced and
oh,
found in different locations?
oh, smells. Oh yes, definitely. In fact, I've been known to smell my grandfather and grandmother both. I can smell her perfume. I can smell his cologne. In fact, just recently, it's been a couple weeks ago. I went upstairs in the middle of the night. I went upstairs. I was down in the basement doing some stuff. I went upstairs. Uh, I had this familiar smell that came over me all of a sudden. I thought, what is that? Immediately, when I asked myself what it was, I knew it was my grandfather's old cologne that they used to call Undeniable was the name of the cologne. And I
Oh, that's
recognized that
pretty
smell.
wild.
And there again, that clone was in the same spot where he used to sit and smoke his cigarettes and drink coffee because he always had that certain cherry sit in 24 hours a day almost.
Penny Van says, I don't know about Christopher's details, but love to know what states he lives, works in, if it's okay to ask. Hi,
Yes,
Irene. Welcome to the show.
I live in Illinois. I live out in the country, and I got a couple of different locations I live at, but one of them is the main house, and it's got 6 acres of land. So I've actually done some investigating out in the out of, so I've actually done some investigations out on our property as well. So that's pretty neat. In fact, on the property myself, I've been known to do a lot of photographs and catch tremendous orbs, bright orbs, reddish, dark colored, just so many different things, even EVPs a few times.
That's interesting.
In fact, we did one investigation. I'll never forget this. I did photograph for the investigation. I was doing lots of photographs. And I captured the portal where the portal was open, where the spirits were coming through, and we ended up closing the portal because of the photo I captured. We knew where it was. You can see the circle in the photograph, and so there's the portal. So we had to go and close it.
Interesting. So, are there portals always around, or do they come and go, you think?
I think it depends. I think some locations can have a portal open and stay open. Other places, I think it depends on if the spirits want to cross over, and if you invite them over too. And that's one thing I will stress: if you go to a location that doesn't seem to have any activity going on while you're there, don't bring anything to the location. Don't add to it. I mean, take care of what's there, what's going on. If there's nothing going on, don't make something happen. Don't open a portal. Don't invite things there that you don't want there. Because if you go to a location, start hollering or making noise and trying to get things to interact with you, if there's nothing going on, you don't want to bring anything there and make things worse.
Are
Hello,
you
SW.
talking about maybe manifesting things too?
Yeah, you don't ever manifest things you don't want to deal with. Don't bring anything into your location that you can't handle or you don't want to handle. Only bring in positive. Don't bring in negative. Get rid of the negative and keep the positive.
Rebecca's asking, you still got pictures of the portals that you have?
I got pictures of it. I'll have to bring those to one of our episodes and be glad to share it with everybody.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
great.
Sometimes I will say when you're doing photograph work, because I'm a professional photographer, if you take your camera and go through different settings and different levels, you do that. Like what I do is I go through and try different settings until I find the setting that matches that house. Because every place you go to might have a different frequency as far as what level the activity is on. When you can tap into that right frequency, then you can just get EVPs or photographs all night long.
Yes, that is true. I do believe in that. So that's a good thing you brought that up, because cameras do have different settings, and a lot of people don't know what the settings for. A lot of people just use the automatic mode that automatically figures it out for you.
I never use automatic. I'm trained to do otherwise, but that's one thing. In fact, when I was taking photograph lessons years ago, or a couple years ago, I told my teacher that I used his mentoring to solve a case. Oh, I like to see that. Yeah.
Very interesting.
In fact, even just old Polaroid cameras, where where the photo comes right out when you snap it. If you can get your hands on an old Polaroid camera, you can use those at locations. You'll get some pretty good stuff on there as well. Is your family involved in
yes.
this? I know I'm the only one involved in it. In fact, my family, they believe it's possible. It's all real. But they're not like on the bandwagon like gung ho or nothing. No.
Interesting.
We've had people ask. I'll go ahead and mention this now. People ask, do we investigate graveyards and stuff? We have done graveyards. We don't necessarily go to investigate. More or less, just go to explore and just walk around peacefully and see if we get anything. I love to do photography work at graveyards. I'll never forget one case in particular. We're investigating a graveyard in a town called Pekin, Illinois. And I kid you not, one of the photographs. Okay, so I captured 2 photographs that night. The first one I captured, and this was still kind of in broad daylight. When you look at the photograph, you see the old war horse and wagon, and that was unbelievable. You see the old war horse. It was one of the best photographs I'd ever captured up to that point.
What are your opinions on investigations using technology for photos? Just curious, like maybe Photoshop or.
Yeah, you got to be careful when you look at photos that people submit, because they can Photoshop things to make things look like something's going on. Really, there's not. What I do, if I see a photo that has evidence, I will examine that photo. Is there any shadows to what's in the photo? Does everything in the photo match up to each other? Does anything look out of place, or maybe like it doesn't belong? Because if it does, okay, well, they probably added that to the photo. Because if you got a person standing in a spot with maybe a spirit next to him, okay, now it's a person that's standing there, does he have a shadow on the back of him? That there's a spirit look like it's radiating from somewhere, because you can Photoshop stuff, and if you look at it closely, like on a computer screen, you can see where they did this or did that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Man, that's been fantastic. So, Christopher, how can everybody reach out and find you?
Oh, it's great. Yeah, if you want to reach out and get in contact, go to Chris Harmon, Crappie King on Facebook, Crappie King like the fish, Crappie King. And you can find me there, and links to some of my shows are there. And if you want to watch our paranormal episodes, please go to SWPI Pekin on YouTube, SWPI Pekin, and subscribe, and you'll get updates on all the new shows coming up, different things going on. And very soon, you can go to my website, Otherworldly Insights. It'll be up and running in the not too distant future, and you can go there and sign up for my remote viewing classes and all the good stuff, including watch some of our new shows.
Awesome. Well, thank you, sir. And it's been wonderful, like always. Can't wait. It's been a pleasure. And from coast to coast around the world, everybody, good night. We'll catch you on the next show. Thank you, Christopher.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Chris.